Why are all the super strong badasses bald? Like, what is it about a lack of hair that makes you immensely powerful? Well, today's warriors are proof that Dragon Ball is wrong. Less hair equals more power. Except for the fact that Goku would probably destroy both of our people today. But that's right. I know you've been waiting, and I'm sorry it took so long. But today we have the Universal Blender with Saitama and the One Punch Man in his fight with Boros, and Kratos, the God of War, in his fight with Hades. Alright, let's start this off right with my main man, the caped baldy himself, Saitama. So starting off with his minuscule power set, he has enhanced sight, he can make after images, and he's able to resist psychic attacks. He can also attack beings without solid structures and even hold his breath in space. Saitama isn't called the One Punch Man for no reason. He easily one-shot Lord Boros after he got serious, and he deflected an energy blast that could destroy the planet. Not to mention, multiple people have said if he wanted to, he could indeed destroy the planet. He's quick enough to match Boros in combat, and he can jump from the moon to Earth in a few seconds. He's able to survive attacks from Lord Boros in his strongest form, and even survive being sent to the moon. So Saitama is simple-minded, and this at times can be problems. I mean, think about it. One time after chasing a mosquito, he chased it through a city. Even after the city exploded and his clothes were burned off, he continued to chase it down. Although this is, why he is simple-minded, he is also a genius in combat. I have to give him that. He's able to fight a lot of skilled warriors with next to no effort. But Saitama isn't perfect. He seeks someone worthy to fight and will purposely hold back in a match just to get some fun out of it. Now, as for his main villain, Lord Boros, well, that's a whole nother can of worms. Boros has super heat resistance as well as a stupidly high healing factor. Like, he was once punched by Saitama so hard, he busted into a bloody mist and then he reformed. He can also launch energy projectiles and can sense other power levels. He can also fly at stupidly high speeds with his energy. Boros is strong enough to damage his own ship and combat Saitama, and he was able to stop a huge freaking... Like, his ship is the size of a freaking continent, and his Roaring Star Cannon can destroy the planet if it wanted to. Boros is capable of keeping up with Saitama in the speed department, making him at least sub-relativistic, and it's heavily implied that he would be able to survive the destruction of the planet, as he was standing on it when he was planning to destroy it. Now, Boros, he is pretty smart. He's led a team of alien invaders for about 20 years, and he's skilled enough to match Saitama in combat, but he's dangerously overconfident, and too much use of his energy will actually weaken, if not completely stop, his healing factor to a stupidly low amount. Kratos. Gods tremble at the sound of that name, because he is the downfall. And the only person who actually looks kind of badass with a face tattoo. The other one being Mike Tyson, if you couldn't guess. Now, let's go ahead and just look over his powers, because to slay all the gods, he's got to have one hell of a power set and one hell of an arsenal. So his weapons can manipulate the elements depending on which one he's wielding at the time. He can create shadow clones of himself, as well as pretty much, well, that's actually it on his own. The rest of his power lies in his armory. Kratos wields the Blades of Chaos, two short blades attached to chains that are attached to his arms that he can swing around to bring hell upon his foes. He also wields Hercules' gauntlets and a barbarian hammer. He has the Spear of Destiny, the Golden Fleece to reflect projectiles and attacks, and he ripped off Icarus' wings, so now he can fly through the sky with them. He also wields the Hooks of Hades, Apollo's bow, and the Boots of Hermes that give him speed boosts. He also has Medusa's head for turning foes to stone, and the head of Helios for blinding people. But Kratos' most powerful weapon is the Blade of Olympus, a huge sword full of the power of the gods. Kratos is pretty damn tough. He's tough enough to kill titans and kill multiple areas of foes. He can rip a man in half with his bare hands. He's fought and killed Hercules, and on one occasion ripped Zeus's head off with his bare hands. Kratos can dodge lightning and arrows, and even explosions, and he's grabbed Hermes, who is quick enough to dodge a blast from Helios' head. Kratos can survive explosions and a volcanic eruption. He's endured multiple attacks from Poseidon, Zeus, and other gods, and Kratos is a vicious killer and Spartan. He's led multiple armies successfully and killed all the gods and multiple titans. Now, there is a huge problem with Kratos, and in this lies his biggest weakness, his anger. Kratos is really easy to anger, and this can make him super violent. And while that can be a good thing when fighting with brute force, it can also be a bad thing when you need to strategize. Alright, now we get to move on to Hades, the god of the underworld. And no, not the funny Disney version from Hercules. Oy. Hades has super senses and the power to turn invisible. He also can shapeshift and change his size, as well as summon and manipulate souls, and even summon dead spirits and regenerate at high rates. He can teleport, use telekinesis, as well as manipulate darkness and fire, and he can necromance. He can also absorb life force and summon large chains. He also has astral projection and can create diseases that are super dangerous, like the Black Plague times 80 kajillion. Yeah, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's strong enough that he's so strong he's managed to fight Kratos for a period of time. He's overpowered Kronos, and he's stronger than Ares. He's able to strike Kratos, who can dodge lightning and tag Kronos. He's endured multiple hits from Kratos, and his regeneration makes him stupidly hard to kill. He's actually rather smart. You know, Hades being Zeus's brother and the peer to most powerful gods makes him pretty good in combat, as we've seen him fight them as well as Kratos. And you know, with their final encounter, Kratos actually had to put up quite the fight to take him out. Not to mention he's killed many titans single-handedly with nothing but his claws and helm. And speaking of his claws and helm, that's where we should talk about his weaponry. Hades actually has two items. The hooks of Hades, or the claws of Hades, which are sickles attached to chains that allow him to tear out his foe's soul, and he wears Hades' helm, pretty much a helmet that allows him to turn completely invisible. But this also brings in some weaknesses. See, his soul-based attacks hurt him quite a bit, which is kind of ironic based on his weaponry, but he is, and anybody stronger than him can kill him, as we've seen Kratos do it quite easily. Alright, now it's time for Kratos and Lord Boros to throw down and Saitama to take on Hades. With our universes set, let's throw him in the blender. Kratos angrily climbs to the top of Mount Olympus, ready to end his battle, but when he arrives, he sees Boros curb stomp Zeus. Kratos looks at the creature and yells his anger as he draws his blades of chaos. Boros turns and looks at Kratos and smiles cockily. Kratos throws his blades at Boros and they impale through his chest. He then propels himself forward with his chains and knees Boros in the eye. Boros stumbles back as Kratos grabs his lion gauntlets and punches Boros in the gut, then pulls out the claws of Hades and throws them into Boros, who flies past them and kicks Kratos, causing him to slide back. Kratos grabs his bow and fires a flurry of arrows at Boros. He laughs as they break his armor off. He then flies forward at Kratos full speed and sucker punches him. He then grabs him by the neck and headbutts him and throws him to the side as he flies upwards. Kratos grabs his wings and flies up and grabs his hammer and swings at Boros, who catches it and shatters it with one hand. Kratos pulls out Helios' head and blinds Boros in a flash of light. He then grabs his blades of chaos and slashes them in a flurry of spins and swings all around Boros, chopping him into a pile of flesh as the blood rains down from the sky. Kratos lands and laughs as Boros reforms and cracks his knuckles. Kratos turns and grabs his blade of Olympus and rushes at him and cuts Boros clean in half. Boros then quickly reforms and laughs. Kratos turns furiously as Boros fires his Roaring Star Cannon at Kratos. Kratos tries to block the Golden Fleece, but he's too slow and the beam overpowers him and disintegrates him, leaving nothing but ash. Saitama is walking through the streets as a portal opens and a hand pulls him straight to hell. Saitama looks around confused until he sees Hades there. Hades slams his hooks down, sending shockwaves through the ground. Saitama quickly dodges them and as chains begin to fly at him from all directions. Saitama quickly knocks them all away with a series of fast punches. Zombie-like creatures rise up and Saitama looks around as they surround him. One swings at him, but Saitama vanishes and appears behind one and punches him so hard that all the zombies burst open like water balloons with blood splattering everywhere. Hades shoots a flame pillar out from under Saitama, who steps to the side with ease. He lands and looks disappointed as a hook flies at him, but he catches it and throws it to the side. He flips hell upside down, causing Hades to fall on his head. Saitama goes for a finishing blow, but Hades vanishes. Saitama quickly turns to see him swing his chains at him one last time, with one last-ditch effort, but Saitama jumps up and punches him in the head, causing him to explode, having blood rain down from the tops of hell. Alrighty, result time. Let's start off by discussing what happened with Boros and Kratos and why he failed his mission. So, Kratos fails his mission in the fact that, well, Boros is too strong and too fast. Well, I shouldn't say he's too strong. Kratos is continental and so is Boros, at least physically is. But his star cannon is planet busting. This attack is way too strong for Kratos to actually deal with. Now, durability wise, Kratos does stand a chance, especially with his weapons. He could 100% take him out, and he's even fought people with healing factors before. But Boros has, and he could actually one-shot Boros with his head of Medusa. But here's the thing, Boros is too fast. He's sub-relativistic, whereas Kratos is only massively hypersonic. This is where Kratos fails his mission. Boros is too fast for Kratos to be able to land very many attacks, let alone fatal ones. So due to a lack of speed and Boros having an attack that could one-shot Kratos, Boros takes the win in that mission. So now on to Saitama and his mission. Well, Saitama kicks Hades' ass. Hades is continental and massively hypersonic threat as well, but Saitama is a planet buster and a sub-relativistic powerhouse. So right off the bat, Saitama can kill him in one single punch. And while Hades can heal and turn invisible, Saitama's fought people who can regenerate. And yeah, invisibility is something new for him to deal with, and so are the soul attacks. But really, there's nothing much he can do to hit Saitama. He's too fast for him. His best shot would be giving Saitama like a super disease, like the Black Death times 450 mixed with the flu and a whole bunch of other fatal diseases. But other than that, he's kind of screwed. He doesn't have any way of necessarily hurting or putting down Saitama. So, our winners are Boros and Saitama. Next time on Universal Blender, we're going to be mixing two universes of people who just want to survive against the armies of whatever the hell they're fighting. That's right, next time we're mixing the universes of Doom and Dead Space.